Hey everyone, I am here with James Ehrlich. He's the founder of ReGen Villages. They are doing some amazing stuff with renewable housing and energy. He also won the Global Grand Challenges Awards at the Global Summit last year and is now also faculty at Singularity University. Welcome, James.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so tell me more about ReGen Villages. Paint a picture for me.
Sure. So there's a global housing crisis. There's also a crisis on the planet around healthy food, clean water, clean energy, and waste to resource management. So what we do is we solve pretty much all of those things by creating neighborhoods, by actually physically building brand new neighborhoods at the nexus of food, water, energy, and waste to strive to make self-reliant communities.
It's amazing. And when you say self-reliant,
I mean that you grow your own food by your doorstep in high-yield organic food production, that you have clean water, clean energy, waste to resource management, that everything you need essentially to lead a happy, healthy life is resident and within the footprint of that community.
and so what types of technology goes into creating a much lower footprint and sustainable neighborhood?
Well, it's born out of research that we were doing at Stanford University, and it's a Stanford spin-off company that I founded as a Dutch holding company. And basically the idea is that we take energy positive homes, but that we put it in an infrastructure which is sort of new to real estate development.
Yeah.
And that infrastructure is actually regenerative. So what it means is that the output of one system becomes the input of another.
Yeah.
And so we create these neighborhoods that are thriving in abundance. And we think that really that's the best solution for the next 2 to 3 billion people coming to the planet in the next 30 years.
Absolutely, and so when you say that the output of one system goes into the input of another, do you have an example of this, just a tangible one that our audience can kind of hold on to?
Yes, I do. The research that's been sort of germane to us the last few years especially is digesting food and animal waste and turning that into nutritional inputs for fish and chickens and other animals. So basically we digest food and animal waste with black soldier fly larvae and aquatic red worms.
Wow.
And yes, and basically those eat their own weight every day in food and animal waste. And we take that and we feed that back to the fish and the chickens and the small animals in the community, and then so we don't have to pay for food for those animals. So there's a perfectly nutritional input. It's a full circle kind of complex. Just
That's
as that
amazing.
one example, yeah.
It's an amazing example. So did you discover this? Was this original research? Have you been pulling from other researchers doing great work?
I'd like to say that it was all original, but it's absolutely not.
Great people, still great ideas.
That's I think part of it is that I'm deeply influenced by Buckminster Fuller and by the work of Rudolf Steiner in biodynamics.
Yeah.
And looking at whole Earth systems, at biomimicry, to how we can mimic what Mother Earth does really well, and add like kind of a tech layer over that, but to improve on those things. So that's really where it's born out of.
It's interesting because you're here talking about biomimicry and we're talking about circular and renewable neighborhoods, and the young man just before you is talking about biomimicry with drones and how he's designing them. It just seems like a huge, I won't call it a trend, it's just become kind of a gold mine of creating better solutions by looking at nature.
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, if you look at natural ecosystems, it does everything. It's producing nutrition, it is digesting waste, it is creating energy, it's doing all of those things in a natural flow. So we've been fighting against that in a lot of ways, and it's not that I'm anti-city. Right? I believe in urban resiliency, and especially the research that's being done at Stanford at the Center for Design Research. But I'm also a lone voice, maybe a quiet voice, on the peri-urban and the rural areas. Because humanity actually needs to start spreading out.
We do.
In the right ways. So with drones, high-speed transit like Hyperloop One, broadband internet for curriculum, Singularity University, that we can reach those kinds of outer-lying areas, and people don't actually need to be going to cities as much, or even at all. And then that's kind of a better case, that we have balance between the megacities and these regenerative communities that can be built en masse around the planet.
And do any of these regenerative communities and neighborhoods exist today?
Well, there are eco-villages in lots of countries around the world that are successful and work really well. At the same time, we're building our first pilot community in Almere, Netherlands. It's about 25 minutes east of Amsterdam, and it's a wonderful community. It's a wonderful commute to the city of Amsterdam, but it's also a model for how we imagine the future of people living near suburban, peri-urban, and rural. That they can be self-reliant, they can be off on their own.
And what inspires you to do this work? Why do you do this?
I've spent about 14 and a half years doing case study research on organic and biodynamic family farming. And that research led me to strong communities, intentional communities, eco-villages, co-housing, collaboratives. And then from that, we actually produced a cooking show, a TV cooking show that became very popular. And so most of my work is around food and healthy eating and how communities come together in a disarmed kind of way around farm-to-table conversations and things like that. And imagine building a neighborhood around that premise. And that's the inspiration.
A theme at the Global Summit has been this idea of a moonshot.
Yeah.
Do you have a personal moonshot or a North Star goal that you're shooting for?
Yes, we completely see the future of neighborhoods being regenerative, that they can be self-reliant, and that's the best way forward for 10 billion people to live on the planet effectively. So that's part of the moonshot. Some of the other work that we're doing, so you know, we're moving our prototype lab from the backyard, grassroots in East Palo Alto, actually over to Singularity Labs.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, and we're going to capsulize it and make it for space. That's our plan.